If you have somehow brought a different opinion of who the brand is to the audience, I think you've done your job, you know?
Brandon, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So your short film that you directed, wrote, and produced called Illionaire screened at the Dallas International Film Festival and South by Southwest London. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
How were those experiences?
Well, I think as a filmmaker, an independent filmmaker like myself, I think it's important to, in the beginning of your career, which I definitely am in sort of yeah, I'm still in the beginning, but I'm like very much like on this place where I'm almost at this next level, which I'm very excited about. But I think that no matter what level you are, I think as an independent filmmaker and a filmmaker, you should be going to these festivals at least once a year for some kind of project that you have. Whether or not you're the director or the producer or the actor, whatever, I mean, you should be going because I think that it's a great place to meet like-minded individuals and just like, practice being in that state, because a lot of filmmakers, like me, we're writing, we're insular, we're like, indoors, and then we go and do the shoot, and the shoot might be super fun and a lot of people and a lot going on, but that only lasts a few days, 3 days, whatever, and then you're back to kind of, so it's good to like I love doing interviews. I love going to festivals and talking with people about film, about my projects, just getting more kind of like kind of in that world more and more, and it feels great. It feels great. Yeah.
Good. That's amazing.
Um,
Was
I
it?
mean, I could answer that question for forever. I mean, you said how was that experience, right? Like Dallas was cool.
Yeah.
South by Southwest, I think, was even more fun. I mean, there was a lot more going on, It wasn't just film, it was music and tech and health and all kinds of stuff like that. It was all throughout the city. And I'm from LA, born and raised, and this is where I live too. And it's nice to just go out there.
Did you get some time to like dip your toes into all that South by had to offer?
I mean, as much as I possibly could. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was pretty active walking around and going into talks and screenings and concerts and mingling, trying to meet as many people as well. I don't know if you know this, but I'm also a rock and roller. I'm in a punk rock band called the Bomb Toms, and
Yes, I
yeah.
listened to Run earlier
Oh,
actually.
no way. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, okay. Yeah. Run is a song I wrote that just got picked up, got placed in a Motorhead's, this new Amazon Prime show. So that
That's
was very cool to get.
amazing.
Yeah, that's a big deal, in the music world. If you can get some kind of branded network to release your song, that's gonna be huge for us down the line. And you probably don't know this because we haven't announced this yet. We're still
Uh-oh,
waiting for
exclusive.
100%. Sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Exclusive.
We're still waiting for 100% confirmation, but it looks like it's happening. But and I can share with you today. But yeah, we're opening for Billy Idol and Joan Jett at the Forum, at the Kia Forum downtown in LA, September 25th. So
Oh my
that'll be
God.
yeah, that's gonna be a crazy, crazy big opportunity for us. So we're all figuring how to best leverage that for some more shows before and after, and to get some serious team members behind us so that we're not just by ourselves waving the flag and pushing our agenda. Maybe there's some other people that might benefit from helping us. So, we're figuring
Yeah.
navigating that.
Okay, so you definitely have some motion behind you this year.
Yes, yes. This is definitely a huge year for me, finally moving forward. I think last year was a great year because of Pool Party. And that was a short film that I made, about a 9.5 minute film for the fashion brand L'Agence. And so that toured the festival circuits, and that was a really great opportunity. And that actually, I picked up some producers that had some interest in working with me, and they saw some of my scripts. I shared some of my scripts because they were asking for it. And one of the scripts they really loved, and we started development on that script, and I've had to rewrite it, and had huge table reads, and it went really, really well. So yeah, that movie's called Howdy and the Legend of the Tornado Brothers, which is a film that's set in a post-apocalyptic different dimension of America or whatever, of civilization of humankind that's set in the 70s, but also in the 90s and in the future. And basically, it's a world that is founded. The foundation is music. And so there's the industry which controls what music you can and cannot listen to. I mean, everything is rules music, and there's a small faction of people, these outlaw musicians that are turning squares groovy, and the industry can't have that and is freaked out about that and is basically trying to stop these outlaw musicians from turning all these folks groovy, and there's in the midst of all these characters, there's three brothers called the Grady brothers, and once they're able to kind of get past their generational trauma, and like work together as brothers and as musicians, they realize they can summon tornadoes. And so through their music, so it is this. So if you've looked at my work, I don't know, and that's a good segue, I guess, to go to talk about Illionaire, if you had a chance to even to check out Illionaire.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, I love all these big, colorful characters, bigger than life. I think I'm starting to find a through line, especially with Illionaire. Pool Party was my first short film that I made,
Yeah.
that I directed. And yeah, I started to see, I wanted to experiment with colors and big characters. I wanted to go even crazier, and then Illionaire let me do that with prosthetics, and I still feel like I can go crazier. So I feel like I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. I actually heard you say though that it was your first time using prosthetics and CGI, right?
Yeah, yeah, first time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, do you think that moving forward, that's something you're going to continue to integrate?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I think this nice balance between CGI and prosthetics is the way. I also want to do huge Tim Burton fan. I would say Tim Burton's number one.
Yeah, I would
There's
definitely
Kubrick
add
is
that.
also over there too. He just seems it's kind of hard to like grab him. I feel like Tim Burton and Tarantino and Wes Anderson, even though I'm amazed and they're definitely like my biggest influences, I still feel like it's attainable, that level. A Kubrickian thing is, I don't know how much you know about Kubrick, but I mean, the guy's a fucking mathematician, genius, engineer, photographer, artist, working in levels that are just incredible. I love working with a lot of people. So that's one thing that I know that I can do. But yeah, first time I did CGI and prosthetics, and I think the next stuff forward is a little bit more of that kind of, like maybe some green screen stuff too. But I want to keep everything like practical, and I love miniatures. So the second I can start doing some like miniatures, I will. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So that's good to know. I was going to ask you about your inspiration behind Illionaire. I was
Okay.
definitely getting Tim Burton, definitely even Wes Anderson with like the lighting.
Cool.
And aside from them being your biggest inspirations, like
Yeah.
how did you come up with this story? Because I know that you said something about using your clients' projects to turn them into short films. That's something you're kind of interested in right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of like pitching. So I mean, I get all of my clients through Instagram, pretty much. In the past, it was more word of mouth. I was introduced to people or whatever, but now it's just all my clients are on Instagram, which is great because I'm collaborating with this amazing fashion brand next month, and I just
Yes.
finished the treatment, sent it over. So I hope they dig it because that's going to be another like various short film stuff that will be using prosthetics and some CGI and
I have a
fantasy.
question about that actually for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Wait, do you want me to answer the last? What was the
Yeah, you can
last?
answer this one first and then we'll
Well, yeah, what was that? What was more of that? What am I missing answering here?
Okay, so I was just asking where that specific idea came from because I know that you're
Got you.
pitching to do
Yeah,
short films with your clients.
yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a very instinctual, and like it's got to be like I don't question like where the visions come from, but I basically Zoe was like, yeah, I'm on board. Let's make like a kind of a short filmy. I wanted to add some dialogue because more dialogue and more stuff that I can like con my clients into letting me kind of like write. That's just more practice for me to make. eventually my feature film, which is basically what I'm trying to make is Howdy and the Legend of the Tornado Brothers. I'm trying to get that made, and I think more projects that I get to make that have short film, dialogue and whatever, I think, investors and producers will see that and be like, "Oh, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Like he'll be able to pull this off." It's not so much of a stretch, right? Just by a generic music video because I shoot a lot of music videos. So anyway, I proposed this like let's just do like a little short film, like minute, 2 minutes. We'll do an intro, outro. And she was like, "Yeah, I love it." So she sent me the whole album, which had already been released like for a year. And she's like, "Tell me what song resonates with you, and let's make a video for that." And Illionaire was the first one that was just like, there was a couple other ones, but Illionaire definitely stood out. So I was like, "Let's do this." I wrote a treatment that was like, I just started seeing visions of like really gross things, actually, just like people hanging out in this living room and they're eating cockroaches, watching like weird TV with demons. And yeah, I looked at that treatment because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I was surprised to be like, oh, this is some really wild, cool shit. There was like a Virgin Mary made of marble, and she was bleeding. And now, like, I'm looking at AI now and stuff, and it's like there's some stuff like that in AI for sure, but honestly, it's crap. It just looks crap. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how you
it's
would want
not
to
there yet.
release. Yeah, I don't know how you would want to release that and be like proud of that because the visuals might be cool, but it just doesn't look like you put in any work. It's some AI is doing it for you. Anyway, so I had these cool ideas. I pitched it to her, and we do a couple treatments sometimes. And she was like, "I like it, but it's not resonating completely." And I'm like, "I have this one other idea about a car chase." And she immediately was like, "Yes, let's do that." So I kind of like reinterpreted and the visions I was saying, I was like, well, I definitely wanted to make Illionaire a character. And because it sounds like millionaire or billionaire or whatever, like it's definitely money. So I was like, well, he's green, obviously, and I actually had this more elaborate story where he went into a diner and he's like ordering a bunch of burgers. He's eating a bunch of burgers, and he starts hitting on this waitress. And she kind of blows him off and he leaves and etc. And then he has this suitcase of money and they end up burning the suitcase of money, right? But because of budget and whatever, and because we couldn't get like a diner for cheap enough, it turned into this burger stand, which actually is better and cooler in the finished product. And then also the actual burning of money, we would have had to get a bunch of fake money and then maybe a fire marshal, because our shoots are getting bigger, so it's harder to do stuff like that off the cuff without any super when we could have, but we would have had to gone like far out into the desert to do something like that. So anyway, because of the practical reasons, we were just like, well, why don't okay, let's do a CGI fire. Oh, well, then if we're doing a CGI fire, why don't we just burn him instead of burning money? Forget the money. How many times have we seen money? Like, forget money. And so, yeah, I kind of just organically started taking shape like that. Speaking of AI, I think AI is a very useful tool, especially for someone like me who's writing treatments constantly. I'm writing treatments at least a couple a week. And so because of the deadline and the fast turnaround, I don't know if you are familiar with how treatments go down, but basically there's visuals. You have to put together visuals that are accompanied by what is happening in the scene. I mean, that's at least how I do
Oh, like a
my.
storyboard or like a
I
picture.
kind of do a loose storyboard for my treatments.
Okay.
Because I want to really give the client something to see. This is really how it's going to go down. This is the story. This is what's other people kind of just put like a mood board together and then have a bunch of words describing shit. I kind of like to do loose storyboard for my
Okay.
treatments.
Do you use like
So
Discord?
I don't use Discord. I use something that I don't want to say. I'll tell you
Okay.
afterwards. I don't want people copying my shit. But but I actually use a free AI software that's pretty cinematic and it's great. But it used to take me so long to write treatments because I would like have to remember references of movies and like try to find that scene just to get that one image, and then sometimes it would be blurry. And anyway, now I'm mostly just doing like these like AI treatments. So anyway, and I always tell my clients that this is not how it's going to look or anything like that. This is just for what's happening visually, so you can get a sense of what's happening visually. But anyway, some of these, the outfits specifically.
Mhm.
I'll prompt the AI to tell me like, to be like, a punk rock demon girl sitting in the back seat of a car, um, and maybe a couple other suggestions. And whatever photos that I get that they spew to me, sometimes those photos are like so cool and so inspirational that I'll be like, I'm done. That's it. And not just that's it, like that's fucking it. Like let's get that exact prosthetic. Those earrings that there's the in the back seat of the car, there's two demons in Illionaire. One of them is pregnant,
Yeah.
which yeah,
So
which
cool.
is
Also, I
great.
love that.
Yeah, and then another one has all these like earrings on her ear,
Yeah.
and that was just by accident. The AI had spewed, I think some earrings in her ear, and I was just like, "That's so fucking cool." So I told my makeup artist to just like do that completely, you know. So I think at this point, how I'm using AI, I think it's just inspiration. It's just a tool. I think that's the extent that I'll ever use it. I know that in The Brutalist, I don't know if you know about the film The Brutalist that had come out during the Oscars, and it was disqualified because they used AI to correct Adrian Brody's Hungarian accent or some of the words or something that, yeah, I think they were trying to correct his accent a little bit, and they used AI to kind of fix his accent, and that they actually got disqualified for doing something like that. And I think that that's the extent that you should be able to do it, like little tweaks, little fixes. I think that that's crazy that genius. I mean, that film probably would have won every award if it didn't get disqualified. But anyway, I think that yeah, that if it's used as a tool, it should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. Love. I also know that you played with some editing in Illionaire.
I mean, I edited the whole thing. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It was the first time I actually even edited really like a whole like with dialogue and everything. I did it a little bit before, but this was like my first like real attempt at doing it, and I mean, it took me a long time to do it, but I think I pulled it off okay.
No,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
did.
Thanks, thank you. I
Yeah.
think as a director, you should be a good editor, though, right? So,
No, I get that. I love editing.
oh, you
Um,
do?
I do, yeah. I know you have some experience acting.
Yeah.
I would love to know how your experience and your training as an actor influences how you're a director.
Oh, well, well, for sure, I have the empathy with the other actors on set, and I know exactly what makes a good, what are the tools that actors have in their act toolbox or whatever to like get to certain scenes or trigger certain stuff. So I still haven't really been able to, or needed to get too deep yet with like me directing actors. I usually like if I don't say anything we're good. You're good. I don't really want to mess with, I don't really want to get into the actor's head too much unless they're really giving me nothing.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I've hired you because I know that you can do it. So if you're already on set, like I know you can do it. And so pretty much everybody was just doing it, like killing it. So I was specifically with Illionaire. Didn't have to do anything. As far as like notes or whatever,
Right.
yeah, because also by that point, if you're really specific with what you're shooting, it's kind of just it's like a train on the tracks going. You can't really touch it. It's already fucking going. So you can just kind of like do a little adjustments, but it's going.
And are you a part of the casting process? Yeah.
Yeah, always. Yeah, always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love casting. Love casting. Yeah. Yeah, really fun.
Cool,
Mhm.
cool. So I do want to talk a little bit about the Vague Studios, the brand that you're going to be
Yeah.
working with. So how did you pitch a concept like this to them? Because it's not exactly traditional like marketing campaign work. It is short film, and that is
Yeah.
a new concept, which
Yeah.
while I think it's cool and people haven't seen it before. Some people can think of that as being risky, but you have swayed them.
I know, thank God, and I think that's going to open doors to keep going. I mean, if nobody can see the writing on the wall, you're blind. I mean, you go on Instagram for 2 seconds, and all these brands now have video content, and it's like I've been saying this for years. It's just like it doesn't matter what you're selling. If it's music, whatever, fragrance, clothing, your production company, peanut butter. I mean, whatever. It's all the same, in my opinion. It's just about story and identifying what your vibe is, or not even just having fun, like it doesn't even have to be like it doesn't even have to be like completely on your brand. It doesn't at all. As long as your name, Vague Studios or Jiffy, is thrown in at some point, it doesn't matter. As long as like the audience sees it, is interested, is fascinated by it, sees that, oh, okay, like if you have somehow brought a different opinion of who the brand is to the audience, I think you've done your job. I
Mhm.
think I think that that's what it is. Unless you're a brand that's like, no, we are just this, and this is all. I mean, that's cool too. I respect that. But I think more and more brands need to think of cooler ideas of how to like, get eyes on their page, and I think little video content, I think that that's the move, So it's kind
Definitely.
of silly, and why not? It's fun, and then you get to be like a production company or a studio in some way, right? You're hiring these filmmakers to make these little films. Well, now you're like a studio or like a production company. And so that just gives you bigger, bigger credit, in my opinion, especially like now that I mean, I know so many filmmakers who aren't working and are broke or have moved out of LA, and I'm kind of doing this totally new thing, which is all through Instagram, and yeah, I'm just navigating this, Nobody showed me the way. I just started making money on Instagram through music videos, and I was like, well, who else can I reach out to make these commercials and films or whatever? And it's like anyone who's willing to throw some money down, let's do something cool,
Yeah.
you know?
Nice. So it seems like you're very intentional with your career moving forward, seeing as that you want to do your feature film
Yeah.
and you're being intentional with like how you're showcasing your work to the people who would buy your concept. That's really smart.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, and listen, I'm down to like shoot what's something like totally different from my style, but I'm still down to do it. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, this is a thing now. More and more, I'm starting to see what my thing is and what I'm bringing. And I think because of Illionaire, now it's just like when I talk to people, they kind of want that, or they just want a shooter. Honestly, if it's and what I mean by a shooter is just somebody with a camera to shoot some whatever. And listen, I'll be down to do that too because I'll take the money. I have a minimum of what I charge, and if you're willing to meet that, then sure, let's do something simple and whatever. But if it's a little bit, if I see something exciting, yeah, I think it's this prosthetic, this funkiness, this humor, you know. Yeah, I think that's the vision, and I think people are helping me kind of visualize what that is by saying, no, I really like that. Let's do something like that, but different. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, okay, so.
Okay. Nice. I have one more question for you. You answered all my questions.
Anytime.
So you hit on this a little bit more, but I want to just wrap this up in a bow one more time for everyone who is watching. For the rest of 2025, what can people keep their eyes out for from you?
Right. Well, so Vague Studios and I are doing a collaboration. We're doing yeah, well, three or four little short little, films for their brands. So I'm going to be doing that and a
And where
bunch
can
more.
people find the videos?
Oh, I don't know how they're going to release it. I would imagine it's going to be on Instagram. I
Mhm.
think, we've yet to produce it and shoot it. It's still in the writing. I mean, I just finished the treatment really, but anyway, yeah, depending on how wild and cool it is, it might even go on to, we might enter it into film festivals if there's like a big chunk of story that I can put into one thing. I might really, yeah, put it into some film festivals. Definitely YouTube, their website, Instagram. So doing that and a bunch more music videos for various artists. I'm really looking forward to doing some stuff like that. Yeah. What else? Oh, and then I desperately have to finish another draft of Howdy. I'm trying because it's such a big story. I'm trying to get it to a certain page length, and I think then we'll be ready. And then I'll put a visual treatment together for Howdy, and I have production managers who are and line producers who are going to put together a whole budget breakdown of the film,
Mm.
right? And so we'll have, yeah, as a filmmaker, right? What do you need, right, to pitch your film, right? So you need your script, you need your deck, your treatment, your visual treatment, your wish list of what actors you're thinking as well, any other kind of funky, cool side information. I mean, my film is definitely all about music. So I want to attach a lot of musicians as actors as well, and we're going to be making all of our music. And yeah, and then super important, not every filmmaker does this, but I think it's essential, is that you get a line producer to break down your script and put together a proper line by line budget
Mm.
below the line and above the line, kind of just like a rough budget of your script. And so now you have a visual treatment, you've got your script, and then you've got your budget breakdown. So those three things, I think, will be in good shape to have that. And then we're going to start raising money. So that'll be the next steps. And then yeah, August, September is heavy Atomic Tom's 2 months of putting of getting ready for a show at the Forum, opening for Billy and Joan, and then yeah, seeing some other shows if we can, warm up shows in those 2 months.
Yeah.
So I think that, oh, and then some travel too, some travel, a little vacations.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes, it sounds like you deserve it.
yeah, yeah. Well, sure. Yeah, I'm going to a wedding, so anyway.
Oh my God, it's like
Yeah,
wedding season, I swear. I
yeah.
literally am going to two weddings like before the end of the year.
Oh, that's fun. I mean, it gets you out of the house, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
It's good. Yeah. So yeah. So that's about I think that's about it. The
For
stuff coming.
now, who knows what next week looks
Oh,
like.
I'm so hungry and ambitious. I hope I never lose that.
Yeah, I don't know. When you get bit by that bug, I don't think you get unbitten.
Well, I think a little bit of the unbitten is when you make it. When you really like land, when you really like make it, I think maybe you start slowing down a bit. Um, uh,
So what is like what would be like your biggest goal? Because the people that make it, they've reached a goal and they feel like they can relax. If you want to keep going, what feeds that for you?
I have about at least 10 or 12 films.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't written full scripts to them, but I know exactly what to do and where to go for all of them. So
Yeah.
I think my goal is just to make all these features.
Hmm.
Um, and some are really inspirational about our ancient past, about what makes us human and what our story is as human beings. And I
Okay.
think I think that's these are really important stories that need to be more in the mainstream. And I think feature films that show these ideas and stories about where we come from, I think are like really essential. And thank God there hasn't been too many because then I can be a part of that. And then there's just like cool, fun rock and roll movies that are about like AI taking over, like Howdy, and standing up against the monotony and like taking away our originality. Movies, I mean, inspirational, right? And then I have other like Polanski-esque films that are way smaller budget and and more about celebrity and success and what that means and sacrifice. So I mean I have too many films. So like that'll keep me busy forever. I mean that's my ambition is to like make all these movies. Um and then tour the world and perform for people and make people laugh and all that shit and turn people on with music and yeah, I think that and then without like career. Oh, and then also a huge ambition too is to not get completely lost in art and being in this ethereal connection. Like being able to balance that, and I don't want to say work life with personal life, that is true. But if we're being a little bit more specific, as an artist, I'm up here most of the time in creative other dimension land.
Yeah.
And so to like be in third dimensional reality of like being practical with your art and not just being out there, but And that means making money. I think money is three-dimensional. So like focusing on like, okay, like how can we also make money and be really creative, but then also keep maintaining relationships with your friends and your family, I think is like so important. And you can forget all that. You can seriously forget all your friends and family and just focus on this. And I think I did that for a little bit. And yeah, you just resent people a little bit. You're like, but do you realize what I'm trying to do here? And they don't care. They don't care. They just care about, your friendship, right? And so it's important. It's important to keep that
I
balance.
think I'm kind of in that phase right now with you, or not with you, but I'm in that phase right now
Yeah.
too,
Resonating,
where
yeah.
I feel like I'm on such a path, like I feel so driven right now, but the people that I'm close to, not all of them feel that way too, and I almost feel like we're not in alignment because of it. How do you get over that?
How do you get over that? Well, okay, you're going to lose the closest friends in the world if they don't fully align. And I'm not a person that's like don't want to be friends with you anymore. I'm never like that ever.
Yeah.
I'm just like because I understand the big picture. Like right now, you don't need to see them all the time. If whatever, it's just like the people that know I care, they know I care, and I'm actually pretty good at calling people up and saying what's up. I don't need to hang out. You don't need to hang out with them all the time, but just at least give a phone call, do a little catch up. That's enough for me. I don't need to see the people. But people will shun you because they see that you're changing and they're afraid of that and they're weird and insecure and I don't know and maybe they used to have control over you and now they see that they don't have that same control over you anymore. And they I've had people preemptively break up with me as far as friendships because of whatever, I was changing and I wasn't the same person that I was. Still have all that love to them, but I had to focus on my stuff and some people just don't get that and that's okay. And the ones that do will stick with you. They understand. The ones that don't understand, and we don't even hate them for not understanding, right? We just
No.
like, okay, like that's okay. I hope that that you get over what it is, and I still have love for you, even though I probably don't want to be friends with you ever again. But whatever. Maybe not. Maybe I got to get over that too because I am pretty like extremes. It's hard for me to be kind of in
Ew.
center. I'm all in or all out.
Yeah.
So I also have to learn a little bit how to because that takes some serious humility. You know, I used to work for this guy, very famous actor, director, Bill Duke, legendary Bill Duke, and he would always talk about humility. And he taught me a lot of lessons about that. I mean, humility creeps up in so many ways, like you don't even know when, that's what you need to be practicing in this situation right now. Like being even tempered, I think that's a practice of humility,
Mm,
to be even tempered, you know, even if people have wronged you, to still like be patient and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, you'll get through it. You'll get through it.
thank
Just
you.
don't take it personally. Just don't take it personally. I think that's the only. I mean, how can you not, right? Because it's directly they're attacking your character or whatever. But you kind of just have to like,
Yeah. I
whatever.
guess as we evolve more, not everyone's going to evolve at that same rate. So it's probably something, we should start getting used to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
So
God, Brandon, it was so great to talk to you.
yeah, anytime. I'd love to talk to you again. Yeah,
Oh my God, absolutely. Thank you.
of course.